वंशी विभूषितकरान् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरा दरुणबिम्बफला धरोष्ठा पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। न गुरोरधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरोरधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Divine souls, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. As you all are aware, we are going through chapter 12, and so far we have covered 4 mantras. Now let us see Bhagavan, what Bhagavan says in mantra 5. He says, Kleshodikataraste te क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्ते साम् अव्यक्ता सक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःख देहवद्विरवाप्यते. What kleshodhik? Klesah adhiktarah. The tribulations are greater. We have marked the word greater. This is a question of comparison. For whom? Tesam avyaktaha asakta chetasam. For those whose minds are set on the unmanifest, avyakta. Avyakta asakta chetasa. Minds are set on unmanifest. He, because Deha Vadvir, for the embodied beings, Abhyakta Gatihi, the path to reach the goal of unmanifest, Dukkham Avapyate, is very painful. The meaning is, for those whose minds are set on the unmanifest, hardships, tribulations are greater. Because for the embodied beings, path to reach the goal, that is unmanifest, is very painful. Let us go deep into it. The first thing, Bhagavan, we know very well that Bhagavan has already given some indication about those who worship the manifest as against those who worship the unmanifest. साकार ब्रह्म की पूजा करने वाले और निराकार ब्रह्म के पूजा के बारे में भगवान ने अर्लियर बताया है. क्या कहा उन्होंने? Those who worship me, that is Sakar Brahma, are the best among those yogis. We remember that he has told in mantra 2. But then he says, but those who worship the unmanifest Nirakar Brahma they also attain me alone. That is in mantra 3 and 4. So thus he is saying, that asserting that both forms, the unmanifest and manifest, Sakar or Nirakar, are my forms alone. There is no difference. साकार ब्रह्म दोनों मेरे ही रूप हैं, मुझसे भिन्न नहीं है. जब भिन्न नहीं है तो why are you comparing? He is comparing those because he wants to put it very clear why he gave his opinion to start with, that जो साकार ब्रह्म के पूजा करते हैं वे सबसे सर्वोत्तम है. That explanation is given here. The And look at the word klesha and dukkha. He is emphasizing this point. It is not only klesha, but also dukkha. And in stating it as gati, the word gati is being used. When the gati is used, that means it talks of goal and a path to goal. When you to reach that spot, if you look at Everest height, oh my God, can we reach the Everest? But then you think of path. Somebody tells you, oh, if you go this way, then you can reach that. So there is a way to reach that. There is a goal and there is a way to reach the goal. Both Bhagavan is talking about painful. Klesha adhikatara. It is greater for those whose goal is unmanifest. Abhyakta. For that person, the path is also difficult, dukkhatar, and goal is also painful for those whose minds are set on unmanifest. Now, as is compared between the two, the position comes, is Bhagwan telling, is advocating that you go for sakar and don't go for nirakar? Because there is greater toil for those who go towards unmanifest. In this matter, Swami Chinmayanandaji says that if somebody says that by this statement, Bhagavan is advocating the path of devotion and is positively condemning the path of meditation or to the formless, that is erroneous, misleading. One should not think that by making this statement or making this comparison, that one is very difficult and one is easier, that he is making a case for everybody to go for Sakara Brahma Puja and not for Nirakar. This is not so. Why so? Why it is not correct? Why it is wrong to say that? Because Bhagavan has mentioned a beautiful word here, Deha Vadvir. Now, this is a crucial word in this mantra, that is embodied. When you talk of embodied or Deha Vadvir, that is the crucial point. Those who are Deha Vadvir, for them, this path is very difficult to go. It is hardship there. There is more pain there. But those who are not, it will be easier. We'll come to that in a minute. So the question is, what do you understand by Deha Vadvir? Deha Vadvir does not mean that somebody has a body. Everybody has body. A cruel person, a wicked person, a pious person, a sadhu, and Dev and Danav, everyone has body. Gurudev has just talked about, आप लोग सब भूत हो, मैं भी भूत हूँ. Those who are born and those who die, everybody has body. So everybody has body, Deha Vadvir. So what is peculiar about this Deha Vadvir, that he finds it very difficult to tread the path of unmanifest? Because this person is not only just having a body, but he is identifying himself with the body. He cannot get out of this concept that he is not the body. He is not even prepared to think that he is not body. He is so much confined, his body rooted. He is so much rooted in his body that he cannot come out of that. And that is very, very important. They have Vadvir identified himself with the body. And for that, Bhagavan has talked about all those in chapter 16, when he's talked about all those Devasur Sampad Vibhag Yoga, verses 8 to 18, if you go through, you will find all the detailed description of those people who have having divine manifestation and those who has demoniac manifestation. I have quoted here one verse. You can go through all the verses and identify yourself whether you are in the path of divine manifestation or demoniac manifestation. Here's the person who is considering himself to be the body and body alone and cannot go out of that. He says, Idamadhyam mayalabdhvam imam prapse manoratham idamastadapi me bhavishati punardhanam. I have gained this today. I will get that tomorrow. I will do that. I will fulfill my desire. Mine, me, mine, I. That is all he has to say, and he cannot get out of that cell. And we all know these kinds of people exist. Manushyanam sahasresu kaschit yatate siddhe. They do not even think of taking the path of spirituality. If you are not taking one step towards in that direction, how can you reach that goal of self-realization? So that is Bhagavan talks about here. Deha vadvir. This is the embodied being. And his mind is not able to go beyond him and his world. He, my, and mera. And it is important. This is, in fact, first entry qualification, what's called adhikari. You will find in Vedanta, this word comes in. वेदांत का कौन अधिकारी है, उस रास्ते पर कौन चल सकता है. The first criteria for a person who can move on the path of this unmanifest, search for unmanifest, he has to disidentify himself from the body and his world. So, निराकार उपासक के लिए पहला नियम है कि उसे अपने शरीर और संसार से अपने को विरक्त करने के लिए प्रयास करना पड़ेगा. In the path of devotion, there is no such requirement. Also, there is no fear of falling out. You see, we talked about what will happen in chapter 6. We learned that अगर मैं रास्ते चल पड़ा हूं, if I am on the path of meditation, and if you can't complete, मेरी गति क्या होगी? Bhagavan talked about in chapter 6 that if you fall there, so there are seekers, sadhak ऐसे हैं, they are afraid of going onto the path of this unvyakt, unmanifest. They don't want to tread that path because they have a fear that I may not be able to complete the journey. And if I am not able to complete the journey, इस जन्म में जो हुआ सो हुआ, अगले जन्म में क्या हो कौन जानता है. So he is scared of treading this path. But in a path of bhakti, ऐसी कोई चीज है ही नहीं. भक्त कभी सोचता नहीं है कि क्या होगा क्या. ठीक है, there are apara bhakti and para bhakti, will come to that later on. There are those people who greedy people, desirous of getting something from Bhagavan, and if he doesn't get, he can even curse. अरे भगवान आपकी मैंने इतनी पूजा की, इतनी प्रार्थना की और मेरा बच्चा नहीं मर गया, तो आप कर्ज करते हो भगवान को, क्यों मैं आपकी पूजा करूं. Yes, that is there for the lower grade, those who are apara bhakti. But those who are the path of devotion, what they just need is shraddha. Just a little bit of shraddha is good enough. And shraddha, we all know, is combination of faith, love, and devotion. विश्वास, प्रेम और भक्ति, ये तीनों का समन्वय श्रद्धा है. भक्त के लिए एंट्री रिक्वायरमेंट बस केवल श्रद्धा है. He doesn't have to think of giving up his ownership or his world. He is beyond that. So the question of Shraddha comes in for the person who is on the path of spirituality for manifest puja ke liye. Now the question arises, अगर दोनों path, both are reaching the same goal. Both attain me, te prapnuvanti mameva. Te means both. Sakar upasak, nirakar upasak. So, if the two paths are shown and there is one goal, the Madhusudan Saraswati says, when the result is the same, the superiority or inferiority will result from the struggle being less or more. But let me simplify. अगर आपको एवरेस्ट पर चढ़ना है and somebody tells you if you go from the Nepal side, it is easier than going through the side of China, then what we will prefer? You will definitely prefer that path which is easier for you. So when you have got these two paths and one is easier, why not adopt that? That question is raised Madhusudan Saraswati, and he says, brother, the question is not that the path or the goal is the same. I will come to that in detail. So there are two things. One is the path, that is upaya, and other is the result, upeya. ये जो पाथ है फ्रॉम निर्गुण निराकार ब्रह्म और वो जो पाथ है सगुण साकार ब्रह्म, क्या दोनों का गोल एक है? That question is being raised, and that is a food of thought for those who are commentators in this field and goes deep into it. So the question is, when we talk of goal, we talk of path and we talk of qualification. When we are comparing those two paths, what is happening? Those who meditate on the unmanifest look at the goal. What is the goal there? Those unmanifest, avyakta, nirakar brahma, for them there is goal is advaita, no two, non-duality, liberation, jivan mukta. All these things are applied in the case of those who are following the path of unmanifest. So they want, there's no two, aham brahmasmi, that is the goal. There is no duality in that. So what they do? They follow the path of what is called Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. This is the path taken by those who are Nirgun Nirakar Upasak. And for them, there is a strict qualification. Sama, Dhamma, and all those leads to Mukshu. I don't want to go in great detail there because this is very great detail description is given there. Tattva Bodh is the one which gives you all those details. But let me just say, at least he has got one thing must have, earning for liberation. He wants to liberate himself as considering that body and the sansar doesn't exist. It is, he is one Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. That is liberation. But that is in case of those who are on the path of unmanifest. What manifest? When we talk of manifest, then the first thing the bhakta wants is Bhagavan. उसे भगवान चाहिए. He wants to be united with Bhagavan. There is a duality there, भक्त और भगवान. भगवान के बिना चैन नहीं उसको है. He wants to be at his feet. That is the first stage, which goal of bhakta, to have the grace of Bhagavan. उनकी कृपा चाहिए. He wants to his grace. He wants to be at his feet. He wants to remain united with him. He unites to remain with him and does not want to get dissociated from Bhagavan. That is the goal of the person. Of course, भगवान अगर चाहते हैं कि आप मुझ में समा जाओ, you become one with me, then it is up to the grace of Bhagwan. भगवान की कृपा होगी तो वे अपने में समा लेंगे. This is the one step ahead. So the sadhaka, those who are on sakar Brahma upasana, they seek the grace of Bhagwan. That is the first thing. And once he gets that, he considers himself satisfied. And subsequently, if Bhagwan wants him to be with him, we'll come to that in a minute. So the question here is, the path is to, what is the path here? He is not so much into Sravanam, Maranam and Nididhyasanam. That path is exclusively and very much so for those who are on unmanifest, path of unmanifest, निर्गुण निराकार ब्रह्म. वो सोचते हैं, अप्लाई करते हैं माइंड को, use the shastras and guru to learn the technique how to get rid of this atmatva at one with body and sansar. That is the path. While in the path of devotion, what is required is the qualities of bhakta. And those qualities of bhaktas have been, we'll come to that, 39 qualities, and from verse 13 onwards, that will be coming up, and those have to bring into practice. If you apply and attain those qualities of bhakta, that you are on the path of Agun Sakar Upasana, and you will reach him. And qualification is, there no qualification. So everybody and anybody has bhakti in him in small way or big way, and he can attain that. Now, grace of Bhagwan and Guru is also very important. Bhagwan has used many verses in Bhagavad Gita throughout. And remember, Gurudev Bhagwan, our Gurudev, has given us that mantra. He talks about bhakti, bhakti, and bhakti. He has led us onto the path of bhakti to be with Bhagwan, and he has been hammering that in our minds. 12th chapter, all the time 12th chapter. We have seen that in many verses. 12th chapter is full of that, but let me quote 2 verses from chapter 10. So beautiful verses. Tesam satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. I, Tesham, Satata Yuktana, those who are worshipping me, Priti Purvakam Shraddha should be there. Dadami Buddhi Yogam, I impart Buddhi Yoga to him. He does not have to go through Sravanam, Mananam, and Nidhyasanam. I will provide him. If you come to me, I will provide you with that intellect so that you will be able to reach on to me and be one with me. Tesamevanukampartam. He further clarifies. In verse 10, he talked about me apnuvanti, they will come to me. How? He gives that word. Tesamevanukampartam. मेरी अनुकंपा होगी उसके ऊपर, मेरी दया होगी उस पर, मेरा आश्रय होगा, मेरा, he will receive my grace. तो क्या होगा? अहम अज्ञानजम तमः, that darkness of ignorance which is there, nasyami, I will dispel that dark. I will see the question here is, on the path of spirituality where you are depending entirely on Bhagwan, he will take upon himself to impart to you that knowledge which will dispel all the ignorance in you, and then you will be Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. You will attain that effulgence which is coming from Paramatma, from Bhagwan. You will one with him. We all know chapter 7, chapter 12, Tesham aham sabuddharta mrityu sansara sagarat. We'll come to that. We know that. Also in 922, he talked about Nanyaschintayanto mam ye jana privipasate tesham nityabhijuktanam yogakshemam bhahamyaham. Yoga I will give you, Shema I will give you. I will impart. What you have to do is to come to me, love me. You have to worship me, and all those things which a bhakta should do. You should do that. Now, also a beautiful example of Swami Ramakrishna, I will like to state that. Somebody asked him, Swamiji, what about Ved and Vedanta you have not been studying? You all know at one stage, Swami Ramakrishna did not study Ved and Vedanta. He questions, hey, Veda Vedanta ki? What is that Ved and Vedanta? Ma amake sob bhujiye deven. Ma is Ma Kali. To him, he was so much devoted. Sakar Brahma Puja. He was Sakar Brahma Puja sadhana. And he had attained that sadhana. Through that attain, he had darshan of Ma Kali. And he said he has a firm belief, Ma amake bujye deven. You don't have to, people, those who are all his companions there, all devotees were there, they were used to tell him, आप क्यों नहीं वेद वेदांत पढ़ते हैं? जरूरत नहीं है हमको पढ़ने की, माँ हमको समझा देगी, माँ हमको बता देगी, mother will make me understand. So why should I be studying? And look at that, what happened. What happened? One day, a saint, wandering saint named Totapuri. Now this Totapuri, he was a wandering saint. While wandering, he came to Belur Mutt. And we came to Belur Mutt, he saw there was one person on the stairs of Belur Mutt. He was sitting and just doing like this. Tali maar rahe hain baith karke. As he was in trance and he was just doing like this. When he saw somebody is doing like this, Totapuri approached him. And then he looked at him, and just one look at his face, Totapuri realized this is the one who is recipient of this Brahma Gyan. He is the one who should be enlightened. So he spoke to him and told him, I am your Guru. Look at that. You have heard many times, Guru khud aate hain disciple ko khojne ke liye. Guru comes to you. If you have that feeling within you, it is somebody will come to you and be your Guru. There are so many examples in Shastras. I don't want to go into that, but let me just say a thing about it. Here, this Totapuri says, you are the recipient of Brahma Gyan, and I will impart that Brahma Gyan to you. He said, no. Ma Kali, माँ काली का मैं सेवक हूँ, मुझे नहीं चाहिए. Then he explained to him. He said, okay, let me ask her. Agar if Ma Kali tells me and he gives me permission, then I will go through it. So he goes and puts the replication to Ma Kali, and apparently Ma Kali gives him the permission to go ahead and have that teaching from Totapuri. So what happened? Totapuri imparts him that Brahma Gyan, but the moment he concentrates, he has the figure of Kaliji in front. But all the time, Kaliji was in his frame, all the time. So when Totapuri was giving him this knowledge, he could not concentrate. He immediately, and he said, well, are you telling this, but I am there. So what Totapuri did, he took a piece of stone, which is sharp edge, and he put on his forehead and pressed it very hard. On the forehead of Ramakrishna, he put this sharp edge of that stone and pressed him hard. So he became very frightened, and it was very painful. He said, remember this pain and concentrate on what I am saying. And that's how Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans got enlightenment and he went into Nirgun Nirakar Brahma, and that is the one he subsequently he got the grace from Swami. He got the grace from Tutapuri, and he became so enlightened that he went completely without food, without sleep, without he lied on one place for 3 days without food, without, just like that. And he said, with the sword of wisdom, I cut through the divine form. That was the 3 days period of what is called Nirodha. Through this process, he lied quiet, and for 3 days he was there. He was got enlightenment from Sakar Brahma to Nirakar Brahma. I will stop here. Jai Sri Krishna. Jai Gurudev.